you have heard the rumors online, and the rumors are mostly true. Today, December 10th, will be my last day hosting the comment section and working for the Daily Wire. It is not true that I am being forced out. It was my own choice to leave. And believe me, this is bittersweet. I have had the most unbelievable 3 years helping to craft the show, building this community, and telling stories and sharing the truth every day. Through the comments,
that's probably as much as we need to see. You can't take anything she's saying for face value. I would just scroll down, Bradley, to the following tweets where she is promoting, oh, here's my new channel. It's empty right now, LOL, but content is coming soon. I would just say, like, media shakeups seem to happen at this time of year when there's contracts expiring and needing to be signed. I think what happened here is a capitalist organization, you might call it Big Con, exploited a young woman for her talent, built a channel off of it, and she came to them saying, hey, I'm the only one that's really growing here. I want some of that scratch. And they said, actually, we're going to put the producer in your chair, but you can go start after signing this NDA to get what, some sort of payout, you can go start your own YouTube channel.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's what she wanted to do, start from zero.
I'm almost positive that most of these major media companies own the rights to the channels, and that's why, if you're wondering why certain content creators haven't left, that's why.
Can we really quick just watch Jeremy Boring here? His sort of like,
oh yeah,
he has a statement about.
Oh, is it going to be boring? God, it's too easy.
Bittersweet indeed. We're sad to see Brett go. But we're excited
Wait, they
to see
cut
her
it
take the next
immediately?
step.
Can you go back a little?
Go back so we get the full cut.
Oh my God. So they barely let her. So her statement is like a minute and a half, and now time for Big Boss Man to
and
take over.
now.
Daily Wire is falling apart. So shout out Majority Report. I mean, they did a great job breaking this down, and I just thought that was so funny. Jeremy Boring like popping in there and saying bittersweet indeed directly after Brett Cooper did her whole spiel. I think this is gonna be interesting. So I don't think the Daily Wire is doing that hot right now, and this is just anecdotal, and I'm sure we can do research, but Brett Cooper does seem to be the biggest voice on the Daily Wire. I mean, she's attractive, she's young, she offers a different perspective than just the fifth or sixth white guy smoking cigars, sitting in leather chairs and drinking scotch. Like, she's actually different, and her content is aimed towards younger people, and she's leaving the Daily Wire. So let's watch a little bit more of this. But yeah, it's not really a surprise that Brett Cooper is flying. She's flying away from the nest, blowing the coop.
From the God King himself, Jeremy.
Ew.
Bittersweet indeed. We're sad to see Brett go, but we're excited to see her take the
You know
next
what
step
that
in her
reminds
journey.
me of? It's when they come back to a commercial break on the 700 Club. And here's our lesson for the day or whatever.
Look, I hate to say your goal, but I love to continue pumping out content on the channel that she created for us and getting that sweet YouTube money.
Because we own that channel. We own it. You don't get to profit off of your likeness. Once you've built up all of this capital for us, it's time for us to continue to maintain the channel and hold on to it so that, like, whatever we can extract from it, whether we change it into something new, we change the name, whether we put a new host on the top of it, you don't get any of the value that you created for the company. We are going to hold on to it, and
you're welcome for the opportunity.
And any
Yeah, so go watch them. I mean, they know, like, this online media sphere more than me. Like, this, they've been in this career much longer. I'm just kind of interested. Let's take a look at the social blade for these Daily Wire YouTube channels. So we can take a look, and let's just look at Brett Cooper. Although it should be like comment sections with Brett Cooper. Comment section. God, comments section. Oh my God, what is her freaking channel called? Brett Cooper YouTube. The comments section. Okay, so this is the comment section. It has 4.4 million subscribers. That's a lot of freaking subscribers. The comments section. So she's down 31.3% in the last 30 days. Maybe, I mean, that could just be because we're coming off of an election, so that's usually a high for political commentary. Down 90K subscribers, damn. Okay, so she is actually losing stuff. And maybe that's after she, yeah, it looks like it dropped off a cliff on December 9th, and that might have been when she declared that she was leaving the Daily Wire. What is this? Monthly gain subscribers for the comment section. So at least in November, she was still gaining subscribers. She was like at a steady gain of subs. And if we take a look at, let's see, let's just look up Ben Shapiro's YouTube channel. So Ben Shapiro's YouTube, he's been losing subs too, minus 10K in the last 30 days, down 38% in the last 30 days. And he's still gaining subs. He was up 70K in November. And if we compare that to Brett Cooper, she was up 80K in November. So like, she has 4.4 million subs. Ben has 7.2. What's the total views per week? 13.5 million for Ben, and for Brett Cooper, she's 10.5 million. So Jesus, she's doing almost as much traffic as Ben Shapiro is, with half of the subscribers and only 3 years on YouTube. That is surprising. She has the same total grade as Ben Shapiro. Let's take a look at some of the lesser known guys. So like Matt Walsh. I think it's just like his name is Matt. His YouTube channel name is Matt Walsh. So he's B plus, down 40%. I mean, that's kind of bad, I guess. He's at 3.89 million views, so doing way worse than Brett Cooper. Like pretty much doing 2.5 times worse than Cooper is. He's only gaining 50K subscribers in the last month, and yeah, like he is gaining subs right now, but kind of barely. Like he's kind of flatlining. B plus, and let's see. What about someone like Michael Knowles? That's the last person that I want to check out. Michael Knowles. So he's got 2.17. So again, Brett Cooper's over double the amount of subs that Michael Knowles has, and he is really up and down in terms of the subs that he's getting. 30K subscribers for the last 30 days, down 25%, down 28% in terms of the views. Again, this is probably has to do with the election somewhat. He's gaining 50K subs, so worse than Cooper, about half of Cooper, and 28 million video views in November 2024. Seems like a lot, right? If we take a look at Ben Shapiro and Brett Cooper. Oh yeah, she had 84 and Ben had 90. Okay, so never mind. I think I was just looking at the wrong thing. Anyway, so yeah, it's like Brett Cooper is blowing all of these guys out of the water. The one person that's comparable is Ben Shapiro, and her metrics, I mean, her metrics are looking up. Ben's are not. Let's just take a look at the Daily Wire in general. Daily Wire. Daily Wire is C plus? Wait, what? This can't be right. I guess the Daily Wire doesn't actually post that much stuff on YouTube. Daily Wire. Oh, Daily Wire Plus, that's what it's called. Okay, let's take a look at that. Daily Plus. Okay, B. Wow, Daily Wire Plus is just like straight up worse than than all of these guys. I mean, less subs than Brett Cooper, about the same subs as Matt Walsh. Yeah. And then if we take a look at their metrics, they're gaining 40K subs. In October, they gained 0. In March and April, they lost subscribers. And this was in an election year? Holy shit. That's kind of crazy. I mean, I guess this isn't like their main hub, but it's still a representation of all of their media that they do. Interesting. So I think it is interesting that Brett Cooper is leaving the Daily Wire. And one reason that I wanted to kind of talk about it is because of Ben Shapiro's take on the United Healthcare shooter. So let's see. Let's just take a look at Brett Cooper's recent videos. Jay-Z accused living in tents, should men provide aided. So she's got this little like lackey that does videos for her too. That's cool. Leftists are sterilizing themselves. Yeah, 1 million views, 1.1 million views. We take it. I just kind of curious. Ben Shapiro, YouTube. So he's got 7 point. Okay, so he is pretty he is hitting pretty hard with some of these videos, like 600K, 387K. He just doesn't really have like the bangers that Brett Cooper has. Like she's like averaging, like her last video got 1.1 million views 5 days ago. Walmart Girl, 1 million views, 700,000 views, almost 1 million views on Sabrina Carpenter. 700,000 views on P. Diddy. And then, yeah, if we scroll back like a month, she is averaging like, yeah, the 4B movement, 1.3 million views. I don't think Ben Shapiro really has these like breakout videos. Like, yeah, some of his views are really low. It looks like he's just pumping out more content than Brett Cooper is. But in terms of his audience, I would argue that the people that are actively watching Ben Shapiro's channel are less than the amount of people watching Brett Cooper's channel. Like he's averaging like a lower amount of views than Brett Cooper is. Like Brett Cooper is averaging like about 500K views because she's got some of these like 384K, like 383, 359K. But then she's also got like a 1.3 million K views. So, or 1.3 million views. So yeah, I would say that she has a bigger audience than Ben Shapiro, at least in terms of the people that are actively watching her YouTube channel. So it makes sense that she would want to leave the Daily Wire. Okay, so I do want to go over breaking points, but let's go over, while we're on Ben Shapiro's channel, I wanted to go over this video. So this video has 44K views, and then what was his other one that went off? It was like him with Bill Burr. Daniel Penny verdict, Ben reacts. So I did want to go over this one. Ben Shapiro reacts to insane election TikToks. Wow. Can't even break like 400K with that. Insane election TikToks. Okay, Bill Burr goes full asshole. Okay, let's watch both of these. Even though I had that one already and this one. Okay, so let's go with the Bill Burr and just try to skip to the part where he talks about Bill Burr because this is 53 minutes long. Oh, he's talking about Hassan?
That is not what the FTC is designed to do. The FTC is not a unionization project. The Federal Trade Commission is meant to prevent monopoly that damages consumers. And here they are basically saying, we don't care if it damages consumers to block the merger. It's all about us pleasing our union base.
This decision being blocked, what kind of labor protections does that offer to people that are working at these corporations?
So, one thing that our lawsuit alleged was that if this merger goes through, it's going to mean higher grocery prices for shoppers, but it's also going to be worse for the workers. And this is the first time that the FTC has ever sought to block a merger, not just because it's going to be bad for consumers, but also because it's going to be bad for workers. And, especially in recent decades, antitrust enforcers had not really been focused on the worker harms as much, and that's something we've really looked to change. So the complaint lays out how previously, when there has been competition between Kroger and Albertsons, that the workers at each store were able to use that competition as leverage when they were trying to bargain. And that if you allow these two companies to merge, that leverage that comes from having a potential alternative employer or an alternative store where customers can go if there's a strike, but eliminating that leverage point and bargaining leverage would ultimately be bad for workers.
That is not the job of the Federal Trade Commission. That is a psychotic perspective on economics. It is markedly worse for consumers. You're artificially increasing the price of labor by preventing a perfectly market-efficient merger from happening because you want to increase.
Okay, so in capitalism, if a company keeps merging and buying stuff, then that is against the free market because it will control the free market. It will control the market essentially. And the way I look at it, and you can correct me if I'm wrong, but the way I look at it is that the government is kind of like the ultimate monopoly, and then the government has to try to make things the government has to try to make the market work for everyone. And it's so funny that Ben isn't arguing against Lena Khan's points that it is a good thing to prevent this merger from happening because it gives more competition for the workplaces, the grocery chains, and it gives more options for the workers. And instead of attacking the merits of that argument, Ben just says that's not the role of the FTC, which I think it is the role of the FTC to break up monopolies. So that's just not true. And I just love like this argument too. So this is an NPR article. It says Kroger and Albertsons in turns have argued that together they would actually have more power to lower prices as well as to compete against other huge retailers that sell food, including Walmart, Costco, and Amazon. So it's like, they're like, well, these other companies merged and they got so powerful. Walmart, Costco, and Amazon are so big. Let us be big too. Well, the answer isn't to allow you guys to merge together. The answer is to break up these other companies. So it's just fucking comedic. And I know this is what we wanted to talk about today, but Jesus Christ, Ben Shapiro is so over this job, man. I don't think he has any heart or soul left in it anymore.
It is markedly worse for consumers. You're artificially increasing the price of labor by preventing a...
Yeah, that's what a minimum wage job is. Like, that's what fucking OSHA is. You're artificially increasing the price of labor. Anyway, goddamn, Ben Shapiro is so freaking dumb. Let's hear what he has to say about Bill Burr.
And thus they are a danger to the vulnerable and the marginalized. So presumably, Bill Burr should have to live in fear of making a joke. Bill Burr should have to live in fear because he doesn't know who he's damaging. In any case, here is Bill Burr openly cheering the murder of a United Health executive because he says CEOs should live in fear if they don't act in the way that he would have them act in a system that he has no fixes for, by the way.
Yeah, if you kill people, you should live in fear. I love how Ben Shapiro frames that as if you don't act in a way that you would have them act. So if I walk up to Ben Shapiro and I punch him in the face, does he have an issue with me because I'm not acting in the way that he wants me to act? It's ridiculous. Dude, it's just like a fucking 2-year-old kid asking why. It's like reductio ad absurdum. He just reduces like any kind of political activism when he doesn't like it to an absurd level of reduction. It's like, why are you getting so bent out of shape from someone doing actions that you don't like? What? It's because they're doing actions I don't like. It's literally tautological. yeah, if they're acting in a way I don't want them to act, then that, like, their actions have consequences and we should deal with their actions. It's not that, why is Ben Shapiro acting like it's a completely free world and no rules or regulations have any bearing on the way that anyone should act in society at all? Like, why is he playing so dumb and acting like that? Dude, the guy just does not care anymore. And this is why it's not fun. It's like, it's not even enjoyable to go over these fucking dumbasses. Like, I don't think Ben Shapiro's stupid, but he just does not care, and he's just lying to his audience, man. Oh yeah, why are you trying to make people act in a way that, why are you mad at people for acting in a way that you don't want them? I just gotta run that back. Why are you mad at people acting in a way that you don't want them to act? What? Actually, what the fuck are you talking about?
Presumably, Bill Burr should have to live in fear of making a joke. Bill Burr should have to live in fear because he doesn't know who he's damaging. In any case, here is Bill Burr openly cheering the murder of a United Health executive because he says CEOs should live in fear if they don't act in the way that he would have them act in a system that he has no fixes for, by the way.
Yeah, if they don't act in a way that he would have them act. Just remember, Ben Shapiro is the guy that said, I don't just condone the genocide that the IDF is doing, I actively laud the genocide that the IDF is doing. So Ben Shapiro is a fucking monster. Like, he is not only a genocide defender, but he is pro-genocide. He's a genocide activist, like pro-genocide activist.
You know what's annoying me about this kid who killed this CEO is none of these news.
Also, just remember that Ben Shapiro framed this as Bill Burr cheering on the murder of Brian Thompson, the healthcare CEO. So let's see if Bill Burr cheers on the murder.
Programs are talking about the incredible lack of empathy from the general public about this because of how these insurance companies treat people when they are at their most vulnerable, after we've all given them our money every month and now we finally need you and all you do is deny us. And then all of these things are taking the pictures of their CEOs off their websites. You know, I got to be honest with you, okay? I love that that CEOs are afraid right now. You should be. By and large, you're all a bunch of selfish, greedy pieces of shit, and a lot of you are mass murderers. You just don't pull the trigger. That's why it looks clean. That's why these people look, oh my God, oh, he was just, you know, walking into a hotel. It's like, okay, but what was his job? What did he do? What was the results of it?
Okay, Bill.
So that was Bill Burr cheering on the murder of the CEO and basically saying that Luigi Mangione is a hero. That's Bill Burr. I mean, what did Bill Burr say? He said, I like the fact that CEOs are scared. Wow, Ben, are you going to try to arrest him? Or are you going to say that is threats of terrorism and mass shootings?
Burr is and a piece of. Okay, well, what he is saying here is truly. Okay, Bill Burr is and a piece of.
Bro, your channel is not family friendly. Ben Shapiro's channel is not family friendly. Why is he censoring asshole and piece of shit? He said Bill Burr is an asshole and a piece of shit. Dude. God. Ben Shapiro is like one of those guys that breastfed on his mom for way too long, and now he's weird and it says stuff like pee-pee and censors himself from saying asshole.
Okay, well, what he is saying here is truly evil. He's truly evil. He's saying
Dude, you fucking support genocide. Ben Shapiro supports genocide. He lauds genocide. I need to find this clip now. Ben Shapiro celebrates IDF brutality. So this is, I wonder, is he going to say I celebrate it?
I want to ask you, as an American Jew, how can you continue to condone the actions of the Israeli government, condoned by the U.S. government, in the Gaza Strip where over 40,000 people have died, including Palestinians and Israelis, and large numbers of children and civilians. How can you continue to condone those actions?
Okay, hold on. I want to correct you. I don't just condone the actions of the Israeli Defense Forces and the Israeli government. I celebrate and laud them.
Okay, there we go. So this guy is a fucking evil monster. And now he's mad that Bill Burr says he's happy CEOs are scared right now. Like, I have no sympathy for him.
You should live in fear if you're the CEO of a company and that company does.
Yeah, if you're the CEO of a company and your company is actively harming people, like you dump toxic sewage into the river, and now there's people being born with all kind of birth defects, or people are developing cancer at a higher rate, or your product, which is health insurance, is causing thousands of people every year, like tens of thousands of people every year, to die due to preventable diseases. You are actively causing harm with the product that you are running, and you should live in fear of reprisal for that harm. Not necessarily bodily harm, but you should live in fear that you're going to get arrested and spend the rest of your life in prison, okay? If you commit crimes that the establishment and our institutions look the other way on, you should live in fear of the people that you are fucking over rising up and demanding a change to the system, and you spending the rest of your life in prison. Okay? I think it's as simple as that. If you run corporations and your corporations cause harm, you should go to prison.
Things that Bill Burr deems to be bad things. Now, we have laws on the book.
Dude, Ben Shapiro's audience has to have oatmeal for brains. Like, he just has them go from Fox News to the Daily Wire and back again. And it's just like, you have like a cantaloupe in a burlap sack and you're just smacking it against two walls back and forth. That's the brains of his fucking audience, because they're ridiculously stupid. He's like, oh, well, Bill Burr doesn't like it because it's bad. And he's saying that like it's a ridiculous thing to do. No, yeah, dude. If you fucking don't like something because it's bad, that's a valid reason. Like, he should explain why it's bad.
Books. He's truly evil. He's saying you should live in fear if you're the CEO of a company and that company does things that Bill Burr deems to be bad things. Now, we have laws on the books, for example, that prevent things like fraud. Okay? We have laws on the books that prevent things like embezzlement. We have laws on the books that punish criminal activity. If you don't like the system, and many people don't, the proper response to that system would be legislation. In a democratic republic, the way that you fix problems is you have open discussions of the details of those problems, and then you try to craft regulatory or legal fixes. You do not say that it is a good thing that CEOs should live in fear of their lives because Bill Burr
Yeah, I never said fear of their lives, fucking idiot.
deems them morally inferior.
Because he deems them morally inferior. Yeah, if they're killing people, they're morally inferior. Once again, he's acting like no one has the right to pass any judgment except for him. Not only is Ben Shapiro the Pope of the Jews, he's the Pope of everyone. He's the only one that can pass moral judgment on anything. If anyone else does it, he's like, oh, well, I didn't realize you, Mr. Bill Burr, the dumbass, bald-headed ginger comedian, deems it morally inferior. Oh, you think it's bad? Oh, well, I guess we'll all do what you want to do. Yeah, dude, he has a fucking point. You don't have a point. You're just like, well, you should stick to the facts and logics because that's what happens if you live in a democratic republic. Goddamn, sorry about that Ben Shapiro impression. That's what we should do if we live in a democratic republic. So we should work through the institutions. Bro, okay, the institutions don't work. And yeah, you should fucking protest. Like what Bill Burr is doing, he is working through the institutions. And I do think that the institutions need to change so that we do fucking send these monsters that run these corporations that are ruining people's lives to prison. Oh my God. Bill Burr doesn't say, yeah, I want an armed revolution where we just kill every corporate CEO.
Bill Burr doing his blue-collar class routine act is a bunch of horse. Bill Burr is worth $14 million, and he makes his money making crap movies for Netflix at this point. Again,
He's criticizing CEOs for ruining the country. He's not saying that, like, his life is horrible. He's not saying he's poor. What the oh my God. Okay, I'm done. I'm done with this. I can't deal with it. It's so dumb. Let's watch this. Watch the full uncensored episode. Yeah,
well, Democrats in the media did their best to make Kamala Harris brat, and they failed. They tried to tell us that Joe Biden was alive, and they failed. Well, now they're trying to turn an alleged murderer of a health insurance CEO into this year's new hot.
The Democrats are trying to do that? Bro, what the fuck is okay, guys, I've had a lot of conversations about rhetoric, and is the left too progressive? Is the left too woke? If we support trans people, then the Republicans are going to use that fuel and say, oh, look at the left, they support trans people, they don't look at the science. And it's like, dude, they're just going to say random shit no matter what the fuck we do. Like, we're going to take a piss, and they're going to say that we're sexually harassing children because we did it in the same building as them. Dude, they just say whatever the fuck they want. Yeah, it's Democrats that are trying to turn Luigi. I'm gonna skip this meme. I really don't want to watch. Oh my God, I don't want to watch these memes that he has. Okay, maybe it will chill out. But anyway, the fact that he says that it's the Democrats celebrating that is insane. Like, what Democrat has ever said that? And guess what? It's like mostly fucking. I mean, there are leftists online. Once again, when we talk about, there's a difference between Democrats and leftists, Democratic politicians. And then in terms of the people that are supporting it, it's literally everyone.
And lonely cat-owning true crime podcast fans were obsessed with the mysterious man who gunned down execution-style Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. He's also the father of 2 teenage boys, a detail that jail or a J. Crew catalog. They took.
Bro, what? Okay. Oh my God, look at these comments. Ben Shapiro. I'm gonna have to zoom in on this. Ben Shapiro. No, don't gain class consciousness. Haha. Please be occupied in culture war. Haha. Never trust anyone selling crap while telling you what to think. You profit from a great divide. When the rich rob the poor, it's called business. When the poor fight back, it's called violence. Mark Twain. Hey, Ben, if you want politicians to fix the healthcare system, maybe you shouldn't call them a communist every time they try to do that. Ben, this is not it. It's not a right versus left thing, and please don't compare these two. I heard the McDonald's employee who turned in the shooter not only isn't getting the reward money, but also got fired. This guy's so deluded. He is doubling down like this is a left issue when it is a human issue. What a clown. Rich guy not understanding why the peasants are fed up. It's time for a change. Ben has more in common with these rich CEOs than he does with the majority of viewers. The more we lose, the more he wins. He's full of it. I beg everyone watching to remember what this event showed us. We have common interests and shared pain. Unity is our greatest virtue and our greatest strength, as evidenced by how hard they try to keep us apart. Will we keep this energy up, or will we let them throw us back into their engineering marvel of a culture war arena? This guy's like a chihuahua, barks at light speed, makes zero to little sense. LMAO. I'm not comfortable with what that guy did, but I understand people's frustrations at the healthcare system. Paying those companies and them denying them care is awful. Rich guys standing for rich guys against a great injustice aimed at the common people. Who would have seen that coming? When has Ben Shapiro been about saving lives? Yeah, that's a good point. So, holy shit, his audience is roasting him.
Well, Democrats, here's new hot thing.
He was the best guy around.
What about the people he murdered?
What murder?
That's right. This past week, legacy media and lonely cat-owning true crime podcast fans were obsessed with the mysterious man who gunned down execution-style Brian Thompson, the CEO of United Healthcare. He's also the father of 2 teenage boys, a detail that not so many people like to include in their perverse fan fiction, even when there was only just fuzzy surveillance footage released to encourage.
What the fuck is he talking? Has he been reading like erotic fan fictions about Luigi Mangione? I mean, okay, just saying. Look at the picture that he uses of Luigi Mangione. And Ben Shapiro says that, yeah, he's talking about people's perverse fan fictions about Luigi. Bro, what part of the internet do you exist on? I would not be surprised if Ben Shapiro is reading like erotica written about this guy.
Of United Healthcare. He's also the father of 2 teenage boys, a detail that not so many people like to include in their perverse.
I'm not even going to say anything.
Fan fiction. Even when there was only just fuzzy surveillance footage released to encourage the public to find the fugitive, you'd think this guy was Jonathan Taylor Thomas in the mid-90s.
Jonathan Taylor Thomas from Home Improvement.
You know that guy whose poster you had in your room? Oh, him!
With thirsty men and women calling him things like socialist daddy or
Why would you reference that? No one knows what the fuck you're talking about.
the claims adjuster, putting him on a pedestal for literally shooting a stranger in the back and then running away from the authorities. And when he was eventually caught in a McDonald's, a fast food chain having a banner PR year, by the way, the fervor and primal horniness only amped up. Here's one post from X from user positively 4th S after the killer, Luigi Mangione, was apprehended. Quote, if Luigi Mangione is sent to prison for this heroic shooting of that evil blood-sucking scumbag, may I be the first to volunteer for conjugal visits. I've never met him, but out of respect for what he's done, and also for the way he looks, he can conjugate me anytime. Winky face emoji. That person sounds stable. Definitely.
Yeah. Kind of interesting that you read a random tweet. Positively 4th Street. Positively 4th. What the heck? Okay. Let's try to look this up. Why can't I find this? Wait, was this on Instagram? What? Shit, I don't know my social media. Maybe it's no, it can't be on Instagram. Anyway, I mean, 26,000 views. Yeah, love this guy reading random tweets and then blasting them for being mentally unstable.
I've never met him, but out of respect for what he's done, and also for the way he looks, he can conjugate me anytime. Winky face emoji. That person sounds stable. Definitely not psychotic. Well, it's just possible that X account is a burner for former Washington Post journalist and current insane person, Taylor Lorenz, who spent the last few days thirst posting for Mangione and laughing for joy about his murderousness.
I do believe in the sanctity of life, and I think that's why I felt, along with so many other Americans, joy, unfortunately, you know, because it feels like...
Serious?
I mean...
Joy at the man's execution?
Maybe not joy, but certainly not no...
Yeah, dude, like fucking Piers Morgan has never felt joy at the murder of someone. Like, oh, he wasn't hopping up and down. I mean, maybe not him, but when like Osama bin Laden was killed, people felt joy. People feel joy for a lot of fucking atrocious people getting killed. Sorry to say, Piers.
Certainly not empathy.
That's not exactly a shock, coming from the same person who just a week ago rage posted that people were coming to her events and, quote, raw dogging the air, which is a terrible description of breathing.
You might have somebody come up to you and ask if you enjoy raw dogging.
Then again, not a shock. This is a person who probably has a tattoo reading breathe in, breathe out on her arm just to remind her how to stay alive. Anyway, there's a whole new merch industry cropping up.
Dude, holy shit! I can see how his career as a scriptwriter just fell down the drain. This is horrible. Oh yeah, she has a tattoo reminding her to breathe in and then breathe out. Where did you come up with these jokes, dude? These are horrible, dude.
Over the Abercrombie assassin. Like this United Healthcare shirt that includes a crosshairs and the slogan, "We aim to please." So classy. Remember that time the leftists didn't like guns? Another reads, "I love my boyfriend," with the now infamous picture of a shirtless Mangione positioned in a heart. To be fair, it's going to be a hell of a shock to Mangione when he finds his fellow inmates wearing that shirt just before shower time. What's that? You want an anime mug of the killer? Well, sure, they got that up within hours. Now you can show that you love murder and that you've never been laid while enjoying your chai latte. eBay has stickers, lawn signs, cell phone cases.
Oh my god. I'm sorry. Okay, so this is supposed to be like some kind of fucking late night show. That's why it's called After Dark. So this is his I guess this is supposed to be comedy. Yeah, he's reading off of a teleprompter script, and this is supposed to be funny. So you can drink this shirt to show, or you can drink this mug to show that you've never been laid while having a chai latte.
Well, sure, they got that up within hours. Now you can show that you love murder and that you've never been laid while enjoying your chai latte. eBay has stickers, lawn signs, cell phone cases, most calling to free the prisoner. And Etsy has over 800 items alone donning the phrase, deny, defend, depose, the words etched into the assassin's bullet casings. If this was an Oliver Stone movie, you'd be like, okay, that should never happen. But the media released prisoner photos of this guy like they ran his OnlyFans. Are they trying to find his best lighting? Is this jail or a J. Crew catalog? They took fewer pictures on America's Next Top Model. Google users also flooded the McDonald's location where Mangione was caught with hundreds.
I don't know. Do I do it to you guys? Do I make you sit through a Ben Shapiro fucking monologue? Like a late night style Ben Shapiro monologue where he's making jokes about libs and leftists, saying that you support murder and you've never been laid while enjoying your chai latte. Because we all know famously, people that watch anime just don't have sex. Like famously, it's not, famously, people that enjoy anime are not sexually explorative with other people that enjoy anime.
An absolute monster actually protested outside the McDonald's. All in all, big year for McDonald's. And we may never know the identity.
Why does he keep saying that? Why does he keep saying big year for McDonald's? Is it because Donald Trump did a photo shoot at McDonald's? Ooh, McDonald's. Maybe this is why. What is this? This looks cool. McDonald's USA menu spotter spotted a delicious new addition to McDonald's menu. Welcome to your one and only source for updates on the new menu items, returning fan favorites and limited time. Oh, let's go. Oh, Dulce de Leche Frap. Boo Buckets. What the hell is this? Okay, on October 15th, get ready for a scary good time. The Boo Buckets. What's in them? Ooh. Oh, wait, there's no food in them? It's literally just a bucket? What? Ooh. Oh, shit. Croc's Happy Meal? Ooh, damn, I might have to go to McDonald's. Smoky BLT Quarter Pounder. That's kind of lame. Ooh, the Kit Kat Banana Split. Damn, I really hate McDonald's, but this is kind of making me want to go for it. Double, oh, gross. Okay, this section has gone on way too long. I don't know. Apparently, it's been a big year for McDonald's. That's the second time Ben Shapiro mentioned
Monster
it.
actually protested outside the McDonald's. All in all, big year for McDonald's. And we may never know the identity of the employee hero who actually turned in the shooter.
Never touches the human hand.
Very good. Very
Nice
good.
and full.
Thank you.
Folks, we'll get to more on this in a moment. First, as social unrest escalates and crime rates climb, securing the safety of our families is more crucial than ever. I'm about as pro-Second Amendment as it gets.
Okay, so in the middle of his late night style monologue, he does an ad read. Okay, all right, Ben. Keep it up. Keep it up. So and that is 44,000 views. If we compare that to, I know it's not completely a fair comparison, but we compare that to Seth Meyers. Oh, well, only 101,000 views 2 days ago. Let's see what his last, a closer look was. His last, a closer look was corrections. Okay, 921K, so almost a million 3 days ago. Trump admits he lied about grocery prices, celebrates time cover on
Donald Trump celebrated with his rich buddies on Wall Street today when he rang the opening bell at the New York Stock Exchange, and he also admitted in an interview that it's actually very hard to lower grocery prices. For more on this, it's time for a closer.
Okay, so anyway, so Ben Shapiro, yeah, I mean, insanely like bland and pedantic to get through. He just has no points whatsoever. He'll just lie whenever he can. Really, really just dumb stuff. While we're on the subject of this, I think this is going to be interesting. So Breaking Points is like the better version of, is it Rising or The Hill? I don't know which one's which, but I know Crystal and Sagar were on there, and then they made their own
So speaking of skyrocketing insurance.
And so Sagar is like a little fascist guy, and he's pretty gross, but I don't know. Let's check this out.
Insurance, shall we? We'll get to Luigi Mangione and the current developments in the case, and also the
Friend of the
social. Well, I wouldn't go that far. He didn't follow any of us. Thank God. Yeah, I was a little worried about that.
You were like,
I was like, oh, and then I was like, okay.
dodge that one.
Well, I don't need New York Times up my ass asking me about.
There's one thing about Ryan Grimm. He's like a pretty good reporter, and he mostly falls on kind of the right side of politics, but he does have some crazy takes about the COVID pandemic. He thinks that like China basically started it on purpose, or at least it was a lab leak from the Wuhan lab. The interview that he did with the Majority Report on that is hilarious because he keeps wanting to talk about it, and Sam's like, "What? You have no evidence that it was a lab leak?" And he's like, "Yes, but there's no other option." He's like Sam's like, "I don't know. I don't want to talk about it. But you don't have evidence for it." He kept insisting. It was so funny.
Why this guy was a fan or anything like that, even though we did swim in very similar circles. So we've got two comedians weighing in, Joe Rogan and Bill Burr, with some cutting analysis.
Oh God, Sagar's cooked when he introduces Joe Rogan as a comedian in the same breath that he's talking about Bill Burr as a comedian. Yeah, two completely equal comedians, Joe Rogan and Bill Burr. Holy crap, dude. Do fascists just don't know comedy, I guess?
With Warren agreeing with them?
Yes, we'll get to that next. Let's take a listen to the comedians.
I think this guy, if I had to guess, some guy who got fucked over. Apparently that company is really bad on denying claims.
34% denial rate. Something
normal's
like that.
like 16.
Yeah.
Yeah. So those guys.
I don't think anybody's going to be crying too hard over that guy.
Yeah, maybe his family.
Is that Quentin Tarantino?
But that's about it.
Yeah.
It's a dirty, dirty business. The business of insurance is fucking gross. It's gross. And especially healthcare insurance. Just fucking gross.
Well, you know what's annoying me about this kid who killed this CEO is none of these news programs are talking about the incredible lack of empathy from the general public about this because of how these insurance companies treat people when they are at their most vulnerable, after we've all given them our money every fucking month, and now we finally need you, and all you do is deny us. And then these pussies and all of these things are taking the pictures of their CEOs off their websites. I got to be honest with you, okay? I love that fucking CEOs are fucking afraid right now. You should be. By and large, you're all a bunch of selfish, greedy fucking pieces of shit, and a lot of you are mass murderers. You just don't pull the trigger. That's why it looks clean. That's why these people look, oh my God, he was just, walking into a hotel. It's like, okay, but what was his job? What did he do? What was the results of it?
Woo, Bill, my God.
The beeps couldn't even keep up with.
Oh my God, Sagar's so cringy. He's like, oh, Bill, wow, that's so good. And you can tell that he really does not like it.
Yeah, that was interesting. Look, it's funny. I knew that the comedians were.
Oh wow, these comedians, they're so funny, right? Okay, well, okay, well, I let's talk about how I disagree with them. Dude, he's so fake. What the hell?
We're gonna have a field day with this one, but with Bill, I don't even think he's joking. He's just ranting completely. You already know that there's gonna be some great sets that come out of.
Do you think Joe Rogan was joking when he said healthcare insurance is a dirty business? They weren't joking, and neither of them were joking, dude. What the?
This entire thing, but yeah, he certainly is trying to capture, I would guess, the underground internet mood of the country. And before we get to Elizabeth Warren, we just have to put some of this stuff up there because.
Dude, he's so fake. It just comes off as so fake. He's saying that Bill Burr is trying to capture the underground internet mood of the moment. No, he's just saying his own opinion. He's not trying to like co-opt this movement. He's just saying his own opinion. And honestly, same with Joe Rogan. Like even with what Joe Rogan said, it sounded really stupid, but I believe Joe Rogan when he says it. Why is he adding this extra layer of complexity to it? He's like, "Oh, Bill, wow, I don't even know if he was joking there. It sounded kind of serious, and he's probably just trying to capture this underground internet mood right now." Why would you say that? What makes you think Bill Burr has done like an analysis of the underground internet mood and then perfectly woven that into his own act and done it in such a genuine way that you will say he's not even joking, he's serious?
Because you can see that there is a groundswell out there. I'm not endorsing it, but it is certainly out there. Let's go ahead and put, what is it, C3 up there on the screen. We play some VO of this. People are posting wanted pictures, apparently, all over the city of New York, showing the photos of CEOs of various different healthcare companies. You also have, let's go to the next one up there on the screen. You have the book, the Delay, Deny, Defend book, which was cited on the shell casings by Luigi Mangione, that has surged to #3 on the Amazon bestseller list. Next, C5, please. The jacket apparently worn by Mangione is, quote, flying off the shelves. This is, let's see, a similar green truck. Yeah. I mean, to be honest, this is just a basic green trucker jacket. I don't really know what's so special about it. The Sherpa line hooded jacket from Levi's.
I mean, that's a stupid comment to make, but it's not really substantial to criticize. Yeah, it's a fucking regular jacket. The reason they're buying it is because the killer wore it. They're buying it because Luigi wore it when he did his assassination. Why are you saying I don't know what's so special about it when you literally said what was special about it? Dude, these fucking fascists don't say anything. Ben Shapiro doesn't say anything. Sagar doesn't say anything. They don't say anything meaningful. They just go over dumb shit. Like, dude, he played fucking Joe Rogan and Bill Burr, and instead of doing any kind of analysis about it at all, he's just like, oh my god, like, I don't even know if he was joking there. He's probably trying to capture the mood of the underground internet. Okay, well, let's go over this. I mean, look at that. They're buying jackets. Are you going to say something substantial?
Rings in at $225, just, quote, flying off the shelves after people speculated it was the same coat that was worn there. I mean, I guess, I'll put in a plug for trucker jackets, specifically Levi's trucker jackets. They can be very stylish. They are very nice. But yeah, you can see there is a lot of hidden energy behind this. So much so.
Why does he insist on saying it's hidden energy? Why does he say it's an underground internet mood? What is... He has some kind of compulsion to say that it's underground or, like, beneath the surface of society when it's not. It's literally right in your face. Like, the fucking book that the killer used as motivation, as far as we know, is the #3 bestseller, or it's the 3rd bestseller right now on Amazon. There's nothing underground about, like, why is he saying this? I don't know, like, it's just this weird subconscious attempt to try to minimize the fervor that people have against capital owners right now. And I mean, he's a fascist. He's trying to defend capitalism as much as possible.
So that apparently people have been offering to the lawyer of Luigi Mangione to pay his legal bills, something that the lawyer addressed in an interview.
Yeah, it's so underground. So underground. People are, like, willing to pay his legal bills. But it must only be, like, sewer people. I'm just going to skip this.
Really?
I love how nonplussed this guy is throughout the entire interview. Refuses to look at the camera, giving extremely
does he know he's on air?
short answers. Yeah, exactly. It's like all the worst things you could possibly ask for in a television guest. He's doing of not giving anything clear. So what do you think? You think the family's paying him? I think so. Yeah, you got.
I would think so.
I mean, they're super wealthy, right? You know.
Right, but let the public pay if they want to pay.
Maybe, but then that's the other question: is that did somebody reach out and preemptively, retain counsel?
I would
for
assume
him?
it's the family. I mean, he went
so.
He went to Gilman, which is like one of the most expensive schools in the Maryland area.
There's no question.
His family's got money.
Yeah, you could. No. I mean, that's already been coming out.
Yeah.
Is that his own family has been very wealthy? They own a bunch of golf courses, apparently, or whatever.
Yeah.
And then. What is they own golf courses? They
his brother's a GOP state rep.
His cousin is a GOP state legislator. So clearly they're influential. Apparently very well known in the Baltimore area, the Mangione family. So yeah, Ryan, what do you think of all this?
Well, the first politician to really kind of channel some of this, and she's getting a lot of backlash, is Elizabeth Warren.
Okay.
I think this is a really interesting interview. And when you watch this interview, bear in mind the cliche in politics that they say everything that comes before the but doesn't actually matter. It's what comes after the but, and that's why people are like, whoa, interesting. So let's roll old based Elizabeth Warren here.
What happens when you turn this into the billionaires run it all is they get the opportunity to squeeze every last penny.
Yeah.
And look, we'll say it over and over. Violence is never the answer. This guy gets a trial who's allegedly killed the CEO of United Health. But you can only push people so far. And then they start to take matters into their own hands.
Yeah.
I mean, she's
vigilante justice.
Her whole career, she's been going after CEOs more than probably any other Democratic politician.
She did walk it back, though. Did you?
Has she already walked it back?
Of course, she's already walked it back.
Well, you knew that was coming.
Bad, etc. Yeah, I mean, look, they're all trying to thread the needle, which I kind of find amusing, especially, well, for them in particular. It's like, oh, how do we do this? It's like, we don't want to endorse violence. And
she pushed the needle the furthest, though.
Do you think so?
Yeah, where you say, look, I don't support murder, but you can only push people so
you can
far.
Only push people
like that's
so far.
That's about as far as a politician is going to take it.
That's fair. I think that is certainly fair.
And was certainly expected that politician would then be forced to walk that back.
We also have a hilarious clip.
So good.
That has come out of Luigi Mangione's fellow prisoners who were able to shout at a cameraman for News Nation. Now, as you and I were discussing, why are they playing News Nation in prison?
Watching News Nation at this very moment.
It's like camera.
Well, I mean, this is.
Is this a jail?
Yeah, yeah.
Actually?
So
okay,
yeah,
right, yeah,
and so this is most American prisons. So basically, those dudes are in a common room. The windows are open, probably.
Why is Ryan Grimm explaining to Sagar how jails work? Is Sagar like a 2-year-old child? He doesn't know how jails work. Well, why is he taking this patronizing tone with him? And Sagar's just like nodding along.
Most American prisons. So basically, those dudes are in a common room. The windows are open, probably. In fact, maybe they have the windows open and the heat on, just to make it miserable from both directions. But so it seems like all those guys are in the common room. It's not yet time to go back to the cell and go to sleep. So they all sit around there and they're watching television.
Watching the news.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they had, as you saw there, they had yelled out the window to the crew, tell Ashley we're going to be watching at 10.
It's literally intuitive. Like, it's the most fucking intuitive thing you can think of. It's a bunch of guys yelling. They're obviously watching TV, and they're yelling at a reporter. Put 2 and 2 together. They're together watching TV. Like, I don't know why Sagar's like, they're watching TV, you say? Interesting.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they had, as you saw, it's not yet time to go back to the cell and go to sleep. So they all sit around there and they're watching television.
Watching the news.
Yeah.
Oh.
And they had, as you saw there, they had yelled out the window to the crew, tell Ashley we're going to be watching at 10 p.m. And sure enough, they were there for their appointment at 10 p.m. and communicating back and forth. You love to see it.
Yeah, it's absolutely.
So I think that Waters' theory that Luigi's going to be persona non grata in American prisons is not panning out so far.
So I was speculating because, so first of all, this is jail.
Maybe he thought he would.
Oh yeah, Jesse Waters is fantasizing about Luigi Mangione getting raped basically in prison. I mean, he said that he'd get torn up on the inside. So yeah, you can use your critical thinking skills to parse together what he meant by that. Yeah, Jesse Waters needs to go to prison, man.
Was going to Dan. Maybe Waters thought he was going to Danbury. Danbury.
That's in Connecticut, though.
Yeah,
that's
that's the Connecticut one.
Holy fuck. Okay. Am I just treating these people too badly? Yeah, Bill Burr telling it like it is. He wasn't joking, and that is fine. The idea of Luigi being in trouble with the prisoners was so laughable. Yeah, this comment was deleted. I wish they would put this much effort to find those who unalived the 2 Boeing whistleblowers. That's kind of funny. Don't expect the deer to weep when the hunter is killed. Liz is 100% right. These billionaires need to take a refresher course on the French Revolution. Here in the U.S. I mean, these are like, I don't know. This is like the epitome of like smug liberalness. Like Ryan Grimm, he's kind of a progressive liberal type of guy. And Sagar, I mean, he's insanely smug. He's not really, I mean, he's a liberal, but like a fascist.
Let's move on to Daniel Penny. All right, so let's go ahead and put this up there on the screen.
So, I mean, Sagar had nothing to contribute in that segment. It was insane. It was crazy how little he had to say. He's like, oh, well, Bill Burr obviously trying to, tune into the underground mood of the internet right now. I don't even know if he was joking. Wow, well, really, like, who knows why people are buying these jackets? Everything's so underground and hidden from view. Like one of the worst political analyses I've ever heard. Just phoning it in there. Ryan Grimm carried that segment by explaining that interview, I guess, and Sagar was fascinated by it. This might be something that Sagar can sink his teeth into a little bit more. So Daniel Penny, who murdered a guy, or I guess killed a guy, and he got, what was it? He got like 2 hung juries, and then he was acquitted?
Daniel Penny was officially acquitted yesterday in the quote-unquote subway chokehold death of Jordan Neely, quote-unquote, sparking applause and uproar in the New York City courtroom. So for those of you who don't remember, Daniel Penny was a Marine veteran who was riding the subway in 2023, where he was involved in an incident where Jordan Neely, who was a homeless and mentally ill individual, was on the subway and was menacing and threatening fellow passengers. Penny and another passenger felt that they needed to restrain Neely because they thought that he was going to get violent, or I think he'd already participated in some violence when he was on the subway. Penny himself then argued that he was not liable for the voluntary manslaughter charge and then the criminally negligent manslaughter charge that was brought against him by New York City prosecutors. So for those, again, who don't remember, we have some video of the incident. Let's go ahead and play it.
On all counts. On Friday, the judge overseeing dismissed the more severe charge of second-degree manslaughter, which carried a 15-year maximum sentence.
That's so crazy. Oh my God. I don't know why they're showing this video footage. So, prosecutors said Mr. Penny placed Mr. Neely in a chokehold for 6 minutes, compressing his neck even after he stopped moving. They argued that Mr. Penny had acted recklessly by restraining Mr. Neely for several minutes even after he had lost consciousness. Okay, guys. So, I'm just going to show you something fun right now. We're going to take a little... We're gonna take a little look at something fun. What's this guy's name? So let's take a look at this. I wanna, if I can find it. Yeah, I don't know if I'm going to find this clip, but. All right, maybe this will work. I hope we don't get taken down. Okay, this looks good. So this is like some sketchy Facebook thing. So this is called MMA. It stands for mixed martial arts, and these guys can punch, they can kick, they can elbow, they can grapple, and this is grappling. This is Alejandro Pantoja. He is Brazilian, living in America, training out of Florida, and he is on the back right now of Kai Asakura, who is a Japanese, I think he's like 32 years old, and he is challenging Pantoja for his title. You can see this little C here. That means Pantoja is the champion. Okay, I guess I can't slow it down, but that's fine. So let's watch this a little bit. So this is how you choke someone. You've got your legs around their body, and now you can start threatening the choke because you've got them restrained. This is restraining someone. Now, this is a famous position in MMA where the fighter who is restrained can't really do anything. They can't really stand up because they've got another guy on their back. Jordan Neely, the man who was choked to death by Daniel Penny, weighed less than 100 pounds at the time of his death. I don't know how heavy Daniel Penny was, but I would be shocked if he weighed anywhere close to 100 pounds. I think he weighed at least like 150. And I don't think that a guy who was dehydrated, hungry, tired, unhinged would be able to lift up a 150-pound plus person that's on their back like this when they weigh less than 100 pounds. So this is the position where they're restrained. And this is a famous position in MMA because this person cannot really do anything. They can try to elbow their opponent, but it doesn't really work. They can try going like this and hitting the guy's head, but look at what Pantoja's doing. He's hiding his head behind Asakura's head. So this is a restraining position. And if you wanted to restrain someone and you knew how to grapple and how to do MMA, then you can get into this position and they're stuck there. Look at this. This is called a figure four. It's called a body lock, and it's called a body lock for a reason, because you are locking your leg around their torso. You are locking the crook of your foot into the back of your knee, and then you can even put your other foot behind the person's leg, so they're really freaking tight. So, all I'm trying to say is you do not need to choke someone to restrain them. That is straight bullshit. So Asakura is trying to fight these hands. Oh, look at this. So Pantoja has his hand around Asakura's neck. He is threatening a choke. Asakura is fighting it off. He goes to the other side. Now look at how tight that is. That is the exact same tightness as what this motherfucker has on Jordan Neely. Pretty much the exact same thing. Look at how red his face is. His face goes red immediately. And he is a world-class athlete and he's going to fight it off, but we'll see if he can. And once again, this happened in 1 second. Pantoja put that choke in 1 second and his face is that red. And you can see it's on the carotid arteries. It's on both sides of Asakura's neck. Asakura goes to pull it off, tightens it up even more. We're at 3 minutes now. He's unconscious. The referee lets him off. So, if Pantoja held that choke for 1, 2, 3 minutes, Asakura would have been dead. Okay? It took about it probably took about 2 seconds to choke him unconscious. So we can see as soon as he gets that in tight, 3:01, 3 minutes. So yeah, that took about 5 seconds for him to go unconscious. His face turned red and his arm goes limp, and then the referee comes in and lets him off. 5 seconds to go unconscious. Jordan Neely is unconscious here and he is in the process of dying. So when you restrain someone and then you put in a lethal choke on them, that is murder, in my opinion. Even if you are going to choke someone to restrain them, once they go limp and you still choke them, that is murder. And even if you say you feel that their body tensed up, it's still just murder. You are still going beyond the act of self-defense and ending that person's life. And this guy was trained. He's a Marine. He was trained in grappling. And he knows that this is enough to murder Jordan Neely. Okay, so we've seen how quickly this choke can put someone unconscious. And if you just keep restricting the blood flow to their brain, they are going to die. So yeah, I think Daniel Penny should not only have been charged with manslaughter, I think that should have been the minimum, where he did, like, you can say that he unintentionally ended this person's life. Not only do I think he should have been charged with manslaughter, I think he should have been charged with murder, because he was holding that choke far after Jordan Neely was unconscious. And as someone who's trained in how to set those chokes, he should know that that is a recipe for death.
After the jury was limp, now Assistant District Attorney have argued that Penny knew his actions could kill Neely, but continued to recognize his humanity. The medical examiner concluded that the chokehold did kill Neely.
I also just want to say that even if someone's unconscious, their body will still go stiff, and they will sometimes still move around. So yeah, the fact that his legs are moving is not an indicator that he is like still awake and still needs to be restrained.
So as you can see, this does also trace not only to that incident of what happened, but actually some of the background of this. And so you and I were talking a little bit about before this, but this is a systemic failure by the entire city of New York, because Jordan Neely was one of the 50 most known people who, quote unquote, needed help and were at risk in the entire city of millions. He was well known to city administrators and to others. And in fact, there are a lot of people out there who are arguing like, oh, he never should have been on the subway. He should have been in treatment and offered shelter. Well, don't forget, New York City actually did offer him treatment and did offer him shelter, and he voluntarily departed it. He clearly was a very at-risk, mentally ill, and disturbed individual who had previously been cited in violent incidents against innocent bystanders. So this was somebody who was menacing people on the train and who was put a lot of people in a very difficult position, because not only do you have somebody who is like a mentally ill vagrant who is menacing there, but the city, who's had multiple opportunities and identified this person, never took him into custody for his own safety and the safety of others. And so just like in that, chaos abhors a vacuum. And so what happens? You have him who's on the train, he's menacing others, and then Penny and this other bystander get involved. Furthermore, what we found out in the trial, Crystal, because people are blaming Penny for Neely's death, Neely was alive whenever the paramedics and others involved arrived on the scene. They did not administer immediate treatment to him because they were afraid that he had HIV. And so they were afraid of their own, risk, basically, of taking care of him. Now, look, I think there probably are procedures and others that are in place for that. But when you put that all together, it is so obvious that charges never should have been brought here against Daniel Penny. And look, I understand this is sensitive. People are, trying to say this.
Okay, so he's saying that, yeah, Daniel Penny gave him life-threatening injuries, but the paramedics that showed up didn't try to save him immediately. Okay, well, if that's true, the paramedics have some blame. They have some part of the blame, but Daniel Penny you're still admitting Daniel Penny killed this guy. And I mean, there's no way to argue against that. And then he's saying that this guy shouldn't have been on the subway. He should have been arrested, essentially. Like, or institutionalize. I mean, he's not really giving any solutions. He's just saying that he was on a list of concerned people. I really don't know what that means. Is it concerned that he's going to be a danger to others? Is it a list of people that they're concerned about the safety of? Like, was the city of New York concerned about the safety of Jordan Neely? And yeah, he is trying to obfuscate the blame of Daniel Penny to all of these other factors, but he just can't avoid the fact that Daniel Penny like killed him. Yeah, it was the injuries that Daniel Penny inflicted upon Jordan Neely that caused him to die. And I mean, when it's so funny when people talk about how Jordan Neely was menacing people on the subway. Okay, yeah, he was running around yelling at people in like a scary way, right? He was clearly unhinged, and he was saying, I don't care if I'm going to die. And that is like a scary thing, right? He was having basically a mental health episode. So restraining the person is one way you can think about it. I mean, obviously, as I said before, there's a difference between restraining the person and killing him. Like, a chokehold is not a restraint. That is something that you use to kill someone. And the other thing that's really interesting is, like, okay, you can restrain him, or you could do nothing, and nothing would have happened. Like, how many millions of people experience homeless people yelling at them in an intimidating way, and they just ignore the person and move on with their lives, and nothing happens? It's just interesting because, yeah, if no one did anything, he would be alive right now and no one would be hurt because the guy wasn't beating up people. And I mean, I guess he had a history of violence, but in this situation, he was not doing anything. And he wouldn't have done anything physical to people. And yeah, everyone would have moved on with their day.
Hero, villain, etc. Instead, can we all just calm down and understand that this is genuinely like a major systemic failure, and that when you put people, Neely and Penny, and all these other people in an impossible position, then shit's gonna happen. So instead, make sure that it doesn't happen. That's why we have governments. Why else do people in the city of New York pay 45% tax, if not for something that is like this? So that is my kind of take on this issue.
Yeah, my take is very similar, and maybe that's unsatisfying to people, but I just think the whole situation is such a tragedy. You know, the passenger shouldn't have been put in that position, right? And I don't think Daniel Penny wanted to kill Jordan Neely. I mean, to me, that's kind of the core in terms of the legal case against him, is establishing that intent. Like, did he have intent to kill this man? No, I think he thought he was doing the right thing. Now, I will say, watching the video, like, it is an awful thing to watch, knowing that he ultimately dies, and you wish that, you know, the chokehold had been let up after, you know, 2 minutes or 3 minutes, so that he had more of a chance to survive. I do think the paramedics, I mean, that's your job. To not do your job is really quite negligent. But you know, I've been in situations where you have someone who was clearly mentally ill, and it was not as menacing as, you know, Jordan Neely reportedly was being, like, making direct threats. But it is a scary situation. It is a frightening.
I mean, according to this article, he was saying that he was complaining of being hungry and thirsty. He threw down his jacket and was shouting that he didn't care if he went back to jail, even for a life sentence, and that he was ready to die. So yeah, those are not direct threats. Like, that's just someone being loud and annoying. But that's just, like, straight up not a direct threat. I mean, maybe there are, and this is just a bad article, which I would not be surprised, but just saying right now, not really a direct threat. Okay, let's continue this.
Situation, because you just don't know what this person is going to do. And I have to rely also on the other passengers who were on the train who said that they felt really threatened. Now, I do think it's disturbing the language around Daniel Penny like he's a hero. I mean, he did take a man's life, whether he intended to or not. I just think your point is the most important one, Sagar, that the whole situation is indicative of a massive system-wide failure. I mean, Jordan Neely had a long record with the city. And by the way, the potential for violence is not a hypothetical one. He had previously been arrested for assault. And he was, out. He was supposed to be receiving treatment, taking antipsychotic medication. And he, violated that agreement. And so that's why there was actually an arrest warrant out for him at that time. And so, yeah, I think just, I wish he was alive today. I think he should be alive today. I think those passengers shouldn't have, been put in that situation. I think Daniel Penny shouldn't have been put in that situation either. And I don't think that it makes anything better to throw Daniel Penny ultimately in prison. It doesn't change any of the systemic failures that led to this absolutely horrifying and tragic chain of events.
Exactly. Don't put people in this position. That's the whole point. And that's why part of it was really terrifying too, to see him get prosecuted, because now it's truly impossible.
I mean, the issue with people defending what Daniel Penny did and defending Daniel Penny is that like Sagar will say, oh, well, don't put people in this position. But I would argue that if people are in that position, Daniel Penny took the wrong approach. Like, obviously, don't murder the person. And then B, I think there's an argument that you shouldn't even try to restrain the person. Like, sure, he has a history of assault, but people were saying they felt intimidated. He wasn't making direct threats to people. And he wasn't actually being violent in this specific circumstance. So, like, I don't know, if he starts being physical with people, then you can restrain him. But if he's just running up and down the subway car, then yeah, I don't think there is a super strong argument to like proactively restrain the person. Because once again, how many like millions of people pass by homeless people who are intimidating and they just keep walking and nothing happens.
And I think about it all the time. We live here in the city, and then you're in your car, and somebody starts banging on the window, or, I literally had people, homeless individuals, who will, like, block your car and not let you move, trying to extract money from you. What do? You can't do anything.
I think it was, I do disagree with you there. Yeah. I think it was fair. I think it was a difficult enough case that it was fair to file charges and to allow a jury of his peers to evaluate the evidence. And, ultimately, I think they, based on the bulk of the evidence and their inability to, beyond a reasonable doubt, come to the conclusion that he was guilty of, I think the charge ultimate was manslaughter, that he was, and we can get to the way the judge handled this too, which was a little bit crazy too. But, I think it was a difficult enough case, and there was enough there that it was worth going through the process and having a jury of his peers evaluate the situation and come to a decision. I do think that was probably the right process, and I also think that they probably came to the right outcome.
Yeah, but that's where the thing is. Like, this is a 26-year-old guy. Now, he's got all these BLM activists who are calling for his assassination. What is he going to do for the rest of his life? He got in a Rittenhouse. Basically, you have two choices. You can move to Idaho and hope, shave your head and hope that nobody knows who you are.
He's a conservative hero, yeah, so he's got all kinds of job opportunities.
When they gave it, but that's my thing. You don't want to be. They tried to interview him. He didn't say anything. They let his lawyers. He didn't want to be in this position. So they ruined his life. Look at Rittenhouse. The guy's like hawking Tiki USA
That's not really
books.
Because charges were pressed, though. That's because of the event itself. He was known. Because they originally didn't press charges.
Yeah, well.
And this already was a real lightning rod case. So in any case, I do think that this was a sort of vindication of going through the process. Just to give you guys, because we mentioned the judge, and I do want to say this was like a little weird the way this all played out. So he had two charges against him, and the jury deadlocked on the higher charge, correct?
Yes.
And so there was somebody who couldn't decide, and they deadlocked, and so the judge sent them home. and then brought them back and said, let's drop that higher charge and now just deliberate on this lower charge. And on the lower charge, they were able to come to the conclusion of not guilty.
Yeah.
Now, you know, there was obviously a lot of social media reaction to the decision, and there was a lot of, you know, conservative activism around. They were even, you know, picking out which juror they thought was, there was one that had 2 masks on. They're like, that must be the guy that didn't want to find him not guilty, whatever. So I'm sure these jurors probably saw a lot of the discussion online. And actually, conservatives were initially enraged that the judge had taken this course of action because they thought that the judge was pushing, and this may have been the case, by the way, was pushing to get a finding of guilty against Daniel Penny, and then ultimately goes in the other direction. And who knows whether, you know, jurors taking in that social media firestorm over the weekend impacted the way that they were viewing the facts and the evidence. But I do think it's fair to say, like, the way that the judge handled it's not like illegal or anything, but it does raise questions about whether they were able to maintain their the impartiality that is the goal of these sorts of jury trials.
And the situation is crazy because it was very obvious from the judge that he was trying to get them to just come to a conclusion on the secondary charge. And they were probably, you know, apparently what happens in these situations is like, well, we can't be deadlocked again. They're really pressing us for a decision. And let's say on the original one, at least some of the reporting I'd seen, there was speculation that actually a majority wanted to find him not guilty on the higher charge, but there was like one holdout. Well, that person finally probably
capitulated.
I mean, but that's why this whole situation is crazy. Like, why is the judge, you know, basically making this discretion to drop a charge, you know, from these prosecutors' file, the judge allows them to, all in the context of resolution, right? And it's like, well, if the jury is deadlocked, then the jury's deadlocked. It happens all the time. You know, I was not, you know, I think it's crazy the amount of power some of these judges have with the sentencing or with others. I learned some of this about the whole Menendez case when I was learning about that. And like a judge can just be like, oh, your entire defense, which got you a mistrial last time, nope, you know, that's out the window. And then you tell the jury, like, you have to narrowly consider based on this, you can't consider anything else. And then they have no choice but to vote guilty, which they didn't even want to do.
I think it's complicated though, because the argument in the other direction is like when you have these, you know, mandatory minimums and 3 strikes rules and whatever, then even in situations where people would look at it and be like, you know, this is every case and every crime is very different. And so if you take all of the discretion out of the judge's hands, then you don't allow for any of that like variability and context and all of that to be factored in. So it is complicated. Like, I can kind of see the case in both directions. But to your point, Sagar, I mean, one of the things egregious that I noted in terms of the power of these judges and how corrupting it could be. And also, by the way, so many of these judges, when you talk about corporate cases and white-collar crime, so many of them have conflicts of interest based on their, you know, whatever stock holdings and investments and their, you know, spouses' positions, et cetera. But putting that aside, the new Twitter terms of service require you to agree that if you have a beef with X, then you're going to go through arbitration in this one specific court in Texas that has been very favorable to Elon Musk and his interests. And he basically sees this as like, you know, his personal company court. So there is a problem with it for sure. There is a problem with it.
And that's my point is that, you know, it's literally known as judge shopping you know, in the business context. So anyway, I don't know. Always when I come away from this, you look at the systems that are in place. You look at the way that New York City basically failed Neely, failed Daniel Penny, and really
the mental health piece is really the
think about this.
You know,
how many people on the subway? You've been on the subway at probably 5 a.m. just like I have in the past. These are some hardworking people. Okay, these are people who are coming in hour-long commute to go clean office buildings and to be restaurant service or whatever so that when the suits show up that they can come in and get served. And then the same thing if you're on the subway at 10 or 11 o'clock at night, sure, there's some people were going out or whatever, but by and large, these are very, very hardworking folks. They pay a ton in taxes. Nobody wants to be on the train for an hour and all of that. The very least you could probably guarantee them is some safety. And in the last several years, every time you go to New York, the explosion of just like mentally ill, vagrant violence and just presence is shocking. And it's one of those where you're paying more than anything. These people are being menaced on a daily basis, fear for their lives. It is not right. And especially not right because the rich people all just leave. They move to New Jersey or Florida.
Or they're in Ubers
or in an
private
Uber,
cars,
right?
yeah.
So they can afford it. It's the janitors, the bartenders, all of the other people who are service workers in New York. Those are the people who suffer. They have no other option. And they're forced to pay more in tax and to have a subpar experience, especially as the train gets delayed and all this, and be menaced and not safe while they're doing it. So it's just not right.
And it's not right for them, and it's not right for the, you know, the people who have basically been abandoned, you know, the Jordan Neelys of the world as well. And you know, our mental health, I'm actually talking a little bit about this. I touch on it in my monologue today. But yeah, our mental health system is really quite atrocious and rife with abuse and neglect. And a lot of these psych wards are for-profit hospitals that are just, you know, they don't want to deal with the most difficult cases, certainly. I also do think that in some instances we've gone, it's important that people with mental health issues obviously deserve human rights and autonomy, et cetera. But you also have to have the ability when you have someone who has a track record of being a danger to others, like Jordan Neely did have, that you have the ability to detain them, even if it is against their will. And you know, I think that there was a move that went too far in the direction of not allowing those type of holds to occur. And you couple that with there just literally are not enough beds in psychiatric hospitals. And the fact that, you know, because we have such a terrible healthcare system, people are completely disconnected from any sort of medical attention or care. And all of these systemic issues just sort of, you know, came to a head in this absolutely horrific and tragic incident.
Hey, if you like that video, hit the like button or leave a comment below.
Yeah, I mean, Sagar will say that he wants systemic issues addressed, but what he won't say is what the solutions are, because the solutions are progressive solutions, and he's not a progressive. So the solutions to him is just arrest the homeless people and I guess put them in prison. We don't really have any other institutions that are going to take them. So yeah, I mean, it's kind of like, you know, if Jordan Neely isn't arrested by the police and he isn't taken off the streets that way, then I guess it's fine if Daniel Penny chokes him out and takes him off the streets that way. That's kind of the general vibe. Anyway, I'm gonna head off now. We have some other stuff to get to. We can talk about like Brianna Boston and maybe some like shoe on head and stuff, but yeah, I wanted to cover breaking points and nothing too crazy was said, but goddamn, Sagar is really annoying. Anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see ya later. See ya.